What's going on, everyone? I am Meteorologist Mike Linden coming at you live from our studio here in Orlando, Florida. And when you are seeing us live, you know that there's something big weather-wise going on, and we are tracking we are tracking Potential Tropical Cyclone Number 9, as the National Hurricane Center has just put out a new path as of 11 o'clock this morning. And there is the expectation that this will become our next named storm. That would be Umberto, and that would happen over the next 24 hours. The Bahamas, particularly the northwestern Bahamas, under threat yet again under a tropical storm warning, and the eastern coastline of Florida under a tropical storm watch. If you are new to these live chats, welcome. I love to do these. These are so much fun, and they're especially great when you guys interact with us. So please, if you are watching this live, ask me a question if you have any of them for me, and I will take the time to answer them as we go through the live chat. So let's just get started. I am going to make the graphics full screen here so you can get a real good look at what we are currently dealing with. And there again, you can see the tropical storm warnings in place. That is that purple color for the northwestern Bahamas, part of the world that just needs a break more than anyone else right now. Here is where you can see the development area. And then again, the eastern coastline of Florida, that yellow color under a tropical storm watch. Here is PTC 9 kind of sitting over the Bahamas there, developing rather slowly. It's kind of a mess right now, but you can still see that it is trying to come together. It's just a matter of this very wide area of the development. Let me get the pen tool and I'll show you. We're pretty much looking like in here as to where the development could be, and that could determine where the path goes. But you can see that now development is happening way far to the east, and that is a big reason as to why that path has begun to shift to the east a little bit. Yesterday, the path kind of went up the eastern Florida coastline, but the path has really shifted to the east now, just as the NHC has started to really nail down where that main development region is. And we still don't even really see where the center of that would be. It's not to say it's a guessing game, but you can still see there is a lot of tropical development, convection, I should say, happening. It's just a matter of where that center is going to start to form. Here's a look at the official cone and path from the NHC, expected to strengthen to a tropical storm by early Saturday morning off the eastern coastline of West Palm Beach. Again, that path has begun to shift away from the coastline and could continue to do so over the course of the day today. But by early Sunday morning, there's the possibility of Umberto as a tropical storm sitting right off the eastern coastline of Orlando and Daytona Beach. As we work our way through the weekend, there's also the possibility, if this thing stays over water long enough, for it to very quickly develop into a Category 1 hurricane. At this point, it would no longer be a threat to land as it begins to recurve out to sea. And notice how sharp of a curve that is. That's because of this cold front up toward the northwest of the storm, this big trough digging into the central United States, as well as a closed off upper level low here over the Gulf of Mexico that's kind of working to steer it that way as well. So let's take a look at the probability of the tropical storm winds, and this is going to show you when you can expect things to really get going near where you live. So by early tomorrow morning, for those in West Palm Beach, that's when you're likely going to start to feel some gusty winds picking up. For the folks that live along the coastal areas of Cape Canaveral, along the Space Coast of Florida, that is when, or into Saturday evening, is when you can expect those winds to get up near you. By early Sunday morning, sitting right off the coastline of Georgia and South Carolina, and then by Monday, that storm begins to exit toward the Atlantic. No longer a threat to land at that point. As for the steering currents or what's going on, we just talked about the low, the upper level low over the Gulf of Mexico, and you can really see that counterclockwise spin really present in that low. Now, of course, that's going to help to kind of curve this thing northward here over the next day, but there is that big trough digging through the United States that will really help to bump this thing off east toward the Atlantic coast. You can see some drier air trying to get fed in to the storm there. Could help to hamper its development a little bit. There's some dry air trying to entrain in from the north too. So it's not the perfect environment for tropical development, but it is still occurring nonetheless right there over the Bahamas. As for the key messages here, anyone that lives along the eastern coast of Florida or even in the Bahamas, that is where you're likely to feel the greatest impacts from PTC number 9. Still doesn't have a name yet. We need it to be a tropical storm for that to be the case. 2 to 4 inches of rain is possible, with some spots locally even higher than that. So the rain really going to be one of the biggest threats from PTC 9, especially for folks living in Florida and the Bahamas. You really won't start to see the stronger thunderstorms until a little later in the evening on Saturday, and those actually should really start to occur over southern Florida, not in the cone at all. But again, this development zone is really kind of a mess, and I think that the models are struggling as to where exactly to put the threats necessarily. Now, we are a day out, and you should really start to see a lot of agreement here over the next day or so, but most models are keeping it off of the eastern coastline of Florida, so avoiding a direct hit from the strongest winds, but the rain is really going to be a huge factor. Look at this. By Sunday at noon, that is a big swath of 3 inches of rain from Vero Beach all the way up into the Jacksonville area, potentially even up near about 4 inches of rain. That would certainly make for some localized flooding and some high water issues, especially for folks that live along side roads or near a roadway that tends to flood easily. You really need to keep a good eye on the conditions this weekend. And even into the early work week next week, there's the possibility of adding another inch or so of rain on top of that as tropical moisture works its way in from the Gulf of Mexico. And it is peak season, folks. I mean, this is the time of year when you expect to see these things, especially in Florida. 34% of our named storms historically happen this month. We start to see that drop off into October and even into November, but we are in the midst of peak season right now. So September 13th, here we are dealing with yet another area of potential tropical development. This not having a name just yet, but it is expected to become Umberto by the weekend. So I have gone through all of my graphics. Let me take a look at some of the comments here before we say goodbye. What's going on, River Run Man? Love the updates and the way they're presented. Well, we appreciate it very much. Thanks for the kind words. We love to do these. Someone asking, what have we to wait in Orlando? I don't understand what you mean. And then someone says that the islands can't take any more. No kidding. So Skywater NC asking, why did they start calling a tropical depression a cyclone? It starts as a cyclone, and it ramps up from there. Susan saying, on our way to New Orleans, anything coming that way? Nope, New Orleans is not expected to deal with anything from PTC 9, so go enjoy your dirty rice, your jambalaya, and your beignets. Have a great time in the Big Easy. What an awesome city in America. I got nothing else for you guys. This should continue to develop as the afternoon goes along. Again, the rain going to be a huge factor from this storm, as well as the gusty winds on Saturday afternoon and into Sunday, especially for the eastern coast of Florida. And as of now, the NHC keeps this thing off the eastern coast, so it continues to nudge east. We may see that wiggle back toward the west just a little bit, but as of now, the path really starting to shift eastward. Chief Meteorologist Leslie Hudson will be in later today to give you another update later this evening as to what you can expect as we head into the weekend. So that's really all that I have to give to you guys this morning, at least. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms. We are everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on YouTube as well. Of course, if you are watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel and click on that notification bell as well. That way you always know whenever we drop a new video. There's some awesome content on the YouTube channel if you haven't checked it out. Tutorial videos, app update videos, podcasts with some of your favorite meteorologists, and just lots of really exciting, fun science content. And we are really looking forward to bringing you more exciting content here in the future. But from all of us here at the My Radar office and studio in Orlando, Florida, my name is Meteorologist Mike Linden. Stay safe and stay dry. We'll catch you in the next one.